All right, welcome to Drinking Alone with Tim Waxelbaum. That's my name. This is the second episode, and I'm filming it this time to make it more cool. So I'm drinking Lone Star beer. It's a beer that's native to Texas, I guess. It'd be funny if it was brewed in Mexico or something. That'd be like totally non-cool with like Texans or something. I don't really care where it's brewed. I just know it says the National Beer Texas, and it has the star on it, and it's called Lone Star. And I first heard about it from that show True Detective, and I was like, oh cool, he drinks that cool character drinks that beer. Well, that's the one I'm getting in Texas because they don't really have this in where I'm from. And some about being where I'm from, it's like for some reason like people feel the need to like tell me or no to like tell other people that I'm from a place called Chicago, and I hate saying that word, Chicago, because you have to say shit almost to say it, and it's a very like annoying name of a place. It's like an annoying pointy sound. Chicago. Chicago. Where you from? Chicago. I hate saying that I'm from there. Just because of the sound of the word, not because I care that much. I'm not like ashamed of being from there. I'm not even from there. First of all, I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. So it's what's the difference, dude? Like, who cares? I'm not urban. I'm suburban. Ooh, big difference. Like, I know people that are from Chicago proper, and they're not proper. They're the same boring nobodies that I am or was before I developed a person. Nah, I didn't develop a personality. I developed a personality, which is where you have a personality, but you don't really care if people detect it or like it, or like you're gonna turn people off if you're a person of color. And by that I mean like if you're colorful, not not like the idiots who like to be racist or discriminate by skin color like to use. I'm talking about like the old fashioned like well, actually, I guess it was never used the way I'm using it. I'm just kind of being provocative or whatever. But I'm a colorful individual. And even though I'm white, because people just see, oh, he's a white guy. So put him in that box. Um, which, yeah, I have a lot of those qualities. But also, by that, I mean just white. How do you define white? That's the thing people ask a lot. They go, how do you define race? It's like, well, it's race. It's the thing. Is like, what's the first thing you think of? Oh, it's that. Yes, that's race. So people don't like hearing what the white stereotypes are, what the white characteristics are, because that sounds racist. That sounds like there's different attributes to races, and maybe that's true, maybe that's not. We're not here to talk about that on the second episode. We already probably covered that in the first one, to be honest. I don't even remember. Don't remember. I just know I probably did. And so I did a show of comedy, a comedy show, as they put it. I did an open mic at I'm in Austin, Texas. It's another weird word. I don't like saying Austin. I don't like the way it sounds. It sounds too soft because it's like this place where all the soft hippies are. It's the hippie part of Texas. And I don't like that. I'm only here because of Joe Rogan and Elon Musk. I'm not here because of the non people I like. Well, yeah, that's hard to define too. Like I like a lot of non-famous people. You don't have to be famous for me to acknowledge you or be influenced by you, but it helps. I mean, can't think of very many people I'm influenced by that are not successful or at least famous is. It's the same thing. They go hand in hand. Fame and success go hand in hand. I mean, most people that get famous are not famous for being famous. They're famous because they're successful at something. They're not famous because they are in like Hollywood. There's so many more famous entrepreneurs or manure people that lay manure for a living. Farmers are famous. There's not a single famous farmer I could think of, so never mind. But if a farmer were to become more like entrepreneurial and have a personality and go on Twitter, then yeah, you just don't see a lot of farmers on Twitter. At least I don't. Like they're busy. There's only so many hours in the day to be a farmer, to do farm work, and so I think they just don't really have time to tweet. But I'm sure they do. We're in the 21st century of 2021. We're in the 21st year of the century. Something like that. I don't know. Who's keeping count? Not me. I just know that something like that. It's interesting. It's the 21st century, 21st year of the 21st. I don't think that's true. I think it's the 22nd because you don't count the year 0. So let's count. Okay, so there's the year 2000. Was that the 21st century? Yeah, that's when they said it was the new millennium. We get it, because there's no year 0. So I'm confused by math and numbers, and let's just move on. So I did an open mic comedy show. Let's just talk quiet. Okay. Austin, Texas. That's what I was saying. I don't like saying that name of the place I'm at because it sounds big. It's like, where you staying? Austin. It sounds ostentatious. And that's where that word probably didn't come from. It's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence that the word Austin has, the word ostentatious. All right, you get it. It's not ostentatious. It's not that though. Austin is not ostentatious. It's big-ish. It's not that big size-wise. Like it's big. It's big in the sense that it's in Texas, dude. Texas is big. Compared to Texas, Austin is not nothing, dude. You only really feel like you're in Texas when you get on the highways. Yeah, that's about it. And that's when you see people driving like they're in Texas, dude. And I like driving in Texas. I do and I don't. You gotta. I don't know. I haven't been driving that long in my life, and I'm just back to being a driver. And I thought I was pretty bad at it. Like I thought I sucked at driving, but compared to Texans, I fit in pretty damn. I probably am on the upper echelon of drivers already, and I see a lot of Texas license plates they get confused in the way that I got confused. Like on the first hour I was in Texas, it was like, oh, they got these weird loopy systems. They got these weird, like, not left turns. They're called fuck up turns. It's like, oh, I fucked up. I gotta turn around. They got those. They're like a U-turn. That's what the Tesla calls it. In the next 500 feet, pull a U-turn. I was like, what? I pull a U? I'm not pulling a U-turn on a freeway. But then, lo and behold, you see literally, it's like, oh, that's right. We're in Texas. Of course people are pulling U. Of course people need to pull U-turns. It's the most free. That's freedom right there. It's like, okay, you're going down this direction. Hey, what if your dreams change or something? Like, what if you want to have a bigger farm? It's like, no, I don't want to go to his farm. I go to a different farm. Or something. Like, what if you that's freedom. The freedom to make your own decision in real time at any given time. Like right now, I could do nothing except for drive around. It's dark. I don't really like driving like in the pitch black in a new area, but you just gotta pay attention. And there's obviously there's benefits because then there's less cars. So you don't have to pay attention. It's more forgiving in some ways than others. It is pretty dark here compared to the Chicago north. In terms of light pollution is what I mean. Like literally it's darker. You could see the stars a little clearer even in Austin or wherever I am. I'm in a pretty shady neighborhood and it's Austin. It's a nice part of Austin though. It's like the suburban expensive, I imagine pretty expensive because it's right by a park, like a big old Zilker is what it's called. And whatever, it's a nice Airbnb that I'm at. It's a cottage. I only prefer, like, I'm new to the B&B situation, and I like to only book places where I get the whole place, and it better be not, it's like shoddily built. I need like some, I mean, I'll stay at a condo if it's a nice condo this time. I'm not staying at like a regular ass apartment complex. That's that's not what I'm kind of looking for in the B&B, in this adventure that I'm on. I'm looking for more of the of something novel where you remember it. At least I'm trying, because the problem is now I'm gonna get used to this. It's gonna suck to have to go back to just regular ass. I guess I just won't travel. I mean, I'll just not do this if I run out of money. But anyway, the point, now that I'm getting used to these cool, like, unique Airbnbs, I mean, now I'm just going to get used. The problem is that I already said it. I'm not used to it yet, but I might, there's a sucky part of getting used to having nice things as you get used to it, obviously, duh. And then you become spoiled and what's the word I'm looking for? Insufferable. Because people, that's why it's not polite to talk about money. Because if you have it and then someone else doesn't, it just creates this super uncomfortable barrier of awkwardness. And it's like there's nothing you can do about it, and there's nothing they can do about it. But obviously they're kind of envious or whatever, or they just wish they did have it, and you wish they had it too, so you didn't have to feel imbalanced. So that's why rich people like to hang out with other rich people, I guess. I mean, that makes sense to me. But anyway, this is a fun adventure I'm having solo right now. I'm solo. I came with my opener. I call my opener. I know it's rude to call your opener the opener. I heard that on a Tim Dillon podcast. He was like, because a Joe Rogan podcast, he called him out for calling his opener instead of his name. Joe was like, he has a name. He's like, yeah, that's funny to me, to just not even use his name, just call him, oh yeah, my opener. That's comedy. I mean, there's a clear hierarchy to comedy, and by that I mean stand-up comedy, not like, I mean, what else is there? That's how you become good at comedy, is you either do stand-up or you do improv, or you just naturally just do sketch. Those are the three pillars that I'm aware of: sketch, stand-up, improv. Chicago was the improv mecca. Probably still is. I don't know what's going on there. I don't care. Supposedly that is the place that's like the top, or at least by name, that's the most famous place. But who cares about, I mean, does that mean it's relevant though? It's legendary. I mean, does that mean it's relevant though? Nah, see, that's the distinction, is relevance and fame, and legend is legendariness are not the same thing. So just because Second City is the most legendary doesn't mean it's the most relevant, and I think you get the point by now. But so, take things with a grain of salt, I guess, because right now, as far as I'm concerned, comedy's dead for most of the what do you call it, cultural zeitgeist. From that, it's devoid of that. What do you call it? The fabric of culture is devoid of comedy. But I'm not going to go on a rant about that, because I'm already kind of trying to get over it. And I think the world, the artistic, who cares? Like, I'm just, because I don't want to only do comedy that's offensive. That's not particularly what I want to do. But that seems to be where the argument always boils down to. Is like, well, you shouldn't be offended by a joke or something. But also, it's not even. I mean, anyway, so this adventure I'm on, led me to going through one of the worst storms in Texan history. And it's pretty complicated to talk about. I mean, I guess that's the thing, is to me, it was just funny that I went through that, because I'm only looking at things from my viewpoint, and I have the ability to look at it from other people's viewpoints for sure, dude. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. And so for me, I was just like staying in these Airbnbs, and like I guess it almost got flooded. So I guess it was kind of close to being scary for me. But that's only because this camera was still in the apartment and I was not. I was in my car, Tesla, charging it, just driving away from the problem. And my buddy was like, I was like, so you're not coming? He was like, nah, I was going to smoke it. And it's good that he did, because then he saw what happened. But I was so not in a hurry to get back there, because I was like, well, there's nothing we could do. He just made it sound like we couldn't even go back in. And so, it was pretty close to happening to our unit getting like totally flooded from a burst pipe. And so, thankfully, we only had to walk over a little bit of ice in the hallway. And as soon as we opened the door, it was totally dry. That was good. So now I still got this camera, and so that's something that wasn't bad that happened. Is I got to charge the Tesla. I was driving in the snow. I didn't even realize there was a line at the charging station, because I just am so used to driving to these empty supercharging stations where I was like, I just didn't realize why there was a car just waiting there, and I was like, I just went ahead. And then someone was like, there's a line, right? I was like, oh, okay. And then I backed up and saw the snow, or I knew there was snow. I guess I was just like, I realized the gravity of the situation. And so then it didn't take long though. And then like half of them weren't working, but then some dude figured out how to make them work, because there's just snow. It turns out he just had to wipe the snow off. How dumb are Tesla owners that we don't even think of what to do if something goes wrong. If something goes wrong and you're in a Tesla, you just kind of just go, okay, well, I'm fucked. I mean, who do I call? What do I do? I guess there's a button for it, but what if the screen's not working? You feel like you're dead or something. No, you feel like you're in a survival situation as soon as the screen turns off, for any reason. At least for me, because like I kind of rely on that piece of technology to just like do a lot for me, and I don't use the autopilot that much. That's really only good for like interstates, long stretches that are predictable. Otherwise you're going to be freaking out about it and not trust, and like every time it wants to change lanes, and like, dude, just stay in the same lane, dude. So I drive without it usually, and also I like to drive the car. It's a fun car to just drive. It's like, it moves. It does what you want. Like, it goes as fast as you want. You just tell it, okay, I want to go this fast. It's like, yeah, we'll get there. But if you want, you could just tell it, no, I want to get there now. It's like just turning up a dial. You just go, well, this, I want to go this fast, and I also want to go this fast, like, now. Or you could just let it, catch up on its own. And then stopping at lights is like its own art. I'm not even kidding. I know I sound like you don't even know what I'm talking. If you don't have a Tesla, so when you slow down, it does the regenerative braking where it recharges the battery as it brakes. It's like just uses like friction and like a windmill and like a turbine or something, some weird thing I just never looked into, and it recharges the battery. So kinetic energy or something, and then it breaks. So you have to master the craft of letting it glide, just based on like this reverse rubber band effect, or just a rubber band effect. So pretend you're just driving with a rubber band around the front bumper, and you just start to feel the pressure get stronger and stronger as you get up to the stop. And then, so you have to time it right. You have to release the accelerator in just the most gingerly, sensitive way. And then you just let it go when you're ready to fully stop. But to get it perfectly, to get it to stop perfect, I sound like Sebastian right now, and it's driving me crazy. Okay. It's just how I talk, I guess, but I lean into it sometimes because he does it, because he's because he's successful, and it's addictive. It's contagious. So anyway, because you don't want to use the real brakes. Tesla has real brakes too. It has two pedals like a regular car. You press the accelerator to go, but you also have to press the accelerator to tell it to not stop. You have to be like, no, I don't want to stop. So you're just like slowly creeping to the light. And I try to go all the way and not bother people behind me, because that's annoying if the car is just like slowly in front of you. Like, but it doesn't bother me because I'm not an idiot. I'm not like a jerk driver. I actually give people plenty of room because I hate when people don't do that to me. And hey, I'm not a dick. I try not to be a dick. Like, so I give people plenty of car lengths. I set it to 4 car lengths. It's like the max, like the most non-aggressive amount of car lengths it offers is to just be like, is pretty far back when you're on the autopilot. And so I don't like to bother people on the road. I do like to go pretty ahead, like in the left lane as much as I can, like the full speed limit and whatever's acceptable as often as possible, because I know what I'm doing. Because it's not that, it's not that hard to drive on a road. It's just weird. Like, what are people doing when they veer out of their lane? Like, are they really just not paying it? Are they really? I don't know. I could speculate. Obviously, it could be many things, but like I see it so freaking often, and I don't do it. But that's probably just because I'm super conscious of not being a bad driver. Because I know it just takes one mistake to cause a huge, expensive problem. So that I don't take it for granted that I have a driver's license, and I do, by the way. I guess I could say that, because you kind of need one. I don't know why I was like thinking that would be like a secretive thing that I have a driver's license. I guess I'm a very private person, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, you don't want to. For some reason, I am being very guarded about my information about like how I'm here, and like, I don't know. I think the problem is you just need more fame and more, or not fame, but more money. Once I get enough money, I'll have bodyguards, better lawyers, more lawyers, the best of every like sub person that would work for me, whatever you call them, my crew, my entourage. I guess that's what you call it, your entourage. Because your entourage is not just random people, it's people that could do something for you in exchange for your quote unquote friendship, and that's pretty cool to me. It seems like a fair exchange. And I even joked once on Facebook, I put out a Google Forms, like, who wants to be in my entourage? Fill out this form. And obviously that was a joke, so that's a douchey thing, that's a ridiculous thing to like do, because the entourage has to be organic. You can't like force that, I don't think, but then again, maybe you can. So after thinking about it, I think I will just put out I'm not a serious person. Like, I'm becoming more serious just because I have like this pressure to be financially liquid to afford my expenses, and that turns you into a serious person, I think. To in a bad way, it's not good to be serious. I mean, that's why homeless people are so fun to be around, is because they're not serious, dude. Because they have nothing financially, at least, or often anything to lose. So that's why homeless people are the most jovial, not happy, but fun, or maybe they're. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to I'm not even talking about happiness. I'm talking about entertaining. I'm talking about like seriousness. Homeless people. Okay, I guess I'm general. I guess I really am just talking about like mentally ill people probably. But that's an extreme example, so maybe not all home. But you get what I'm saying, dude. You always see homeless people in a good mood. They're like, "How you doing?" Like, at least they're good at acting. Like, freaking no. I guess I'm just talking about schizophrenics. So let's just say that poor, and also poor people, like people struggling financially, who I guess you can't really say poor. I guess the word poor is not really a thing you're allowed to say anymore, but you are if it's a different country. Like for Americans, you can't really use the word poor because if you're from here, then you'd probably have an opportunity to at least get something, get it like some kind of job, and not be like straight up poor. But even people with like in debt, as long as you have some income, you're not poor, dude. You kind of are by relativity. In this country, poor just means I don't really even know. Doesn't mean homeless. You could be poor without being homeless. So I think 10 to 20K a year would be poor, but even that sounds lucrative. So maybe okay, let's just go 10K. Even that might be too high. Definitely by 5K, you're poor. If you're only making 5K a year, but that depends on if you have a family. Well, is that just for you? Because if you're crafty, you could get by on very little in this country or something. And just so anyway, what was I talking about? Poor people. Oh yeah, even poor people are serious. Like, and they have an even better reason to be serious than wealthy motherfuckers. Not that I'm not saying I'm wealthy. I'm not wealthy. I hate that word because I don't want people even getting the idea that I'm calling myself that. That is gross. Feels cool. I won't lie. Feels cool when people think I just assume I am, but it's a false compliment. So it's like, no, don't spread that. That's retarded. But once I am, then I could talk about. But even then, you can't talk about it because it's for the same reason. Like Jeff Bezos, does he talk about his? No, you don't talk about it. Even if you have enough where you're not worried about security or whatever. It's just impolite to talk about. And I'm not saying it's impolite to ask about. There's a way to ask it, but there's a rude way to ask it too. Like I would want people to know only like how much money I have only if they knew everything else about me. So anyway, that was gross. It's weird being a comic and having a little bit of money, even though I'm probably gonna, let's just say I have like I do, and it's bizarre because I'm also kind of good at comedy that people definitely see that like I definitely regularly get whatever positive feedback for it, and so they also see that I have like a Tesla and like other stuff like I'm like maybe real estate and whatever else. It's like it's bizarre. How am I like? Yeah, so I'm uncomfortable talking about it, even to myself on a podcast that no one's gonna listen to. But let's just talk about something. So, oh yeah, the point that I'm trying to make, and I haven't taken a single sip off this beer, which is why that's only because I hate I hate dead air. I'm a radio guy. That's why I haven't stopped talking for long enough to take a single sip. I need one, so I'm going to take a sip. Yeah, it doesn't taste any different than High Life, Miller Lite. If I did a taste test for like every cheap beer ever, like Lone Star, this is cheap, I guess, but it's the novelty of it being from a different place. That's what makes it special to me. And I am a sucker for Texas. I thought I would be like too much of a pussy to ever be a Texan, and I was right. But that doesn't mean I don't like it. And also, like I like that cowboy-esque, that America, that middle America, like, yeah, me, look at me. I don't care about you, I care about me. Where am I getting my pork chops? I don't know, like having a wife and like have like just living life like a Toy Story character. There's something romantic about that. Uh, I used to not like country music now, but then I started growing. I thought that like if you liked country, you were like a non-complete person, like that you were dumb or something, because of that whatever meant that not perception that Southerners are racist, sexist, not everything, and homophobic. And just dumb, bigoted, yeah, like low intelligence. That's why I didn't like country, because I thought it was I just didn't like that. I was afraid of it. That's all. I just thought it was too raunchy and lowbrow, and not just the music. I mean the entire lifestyle of being a Southerner. The perception of Southerners, it was instilled to be like bad and gross and like hay and like dirt and farms and like growing up in a shit. I don't know, like, and I like it for some reason. I pulled a total 180 on that, and now I want it to get even more Texan. Like I like it now, and I feel like I'm culturally appropriating my own culture. Like I'm stealing middle America culture. And I guess that is kind of bad. That is kind of not racist, but it's insensitive, dude, because that's theirs. Like that's big testosterone dudes, Anglo-Saxon mostly, not Jews, not a lot of Jews are not allowed there. I speak as a Jew. I'm saying like they wouldn't. That's not really the border. That would be crossing borders essentially in culture, because Jews stay in the expensive burgs, the cities. Now Jews carve out their own neighborhood. See now, they're very nice neighborhoods usually. Like I'm working on a bit. Not that I work on bits, but let's just say I'm working on a bit about. Oh yeah, I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I forgot. Oh, there it goes. Well, I thought I was working on a bit. Oh yeah, Jews. How can I not? I hate not Jews. I hate that you have to talk about Jews these days. You have to acknowledge either that you're a Jew if you're Jewish, or if you look Jewish. Hey, you Jewish? You look Jewish. You Jewish? You sound Jewish. And then you gotta go either yes or no. I think I talked about this on the last episode, but I don't care that much. I'm just saying there's baggage to it, and I kind of hate. I just wish reality wasn't like that, where you didn't have to acknowledge weird stuff. Like it's not that weird. It just creates racism. It creates hate if you accept that there's racial differences, or that there's a reason people like races have different attributes. That's something you're not allowed to talk about, but because it creates racism, obviously. But it's also kind of true, probably. So that's why it's kind of that's why it's like, whoa, you're not supposed to say that. But the point is, I'm trying to make, as I laugh too loud in my microphone, is oh yeah, that I want to say, I think that Jews, the reason they're hated by so-called white supremacists, and I put that in quotes, I guess, because they're so hard to find. Like they're out there, I guess. Like on 4chan, there's definitely racist people, but it's a loaded term, but because it's used on like everybody. So anyway, it's used on like society, you know. not even individuals anymore. It's just like, oh, it's in the fabric of society. So anyway, racial white supremacists are basically like Jews, the opposite of white supremacists, in my opinion. And not, as a joke, because this is not like a study. This is not like a college course hypothesis. But I'm not writing a paper on it. I'm just saying the opposite of white supremacists are Jews, probably, and that's why they hate each other. So I mean, they don't. It's not just one-sided. Jews hate white supremacists, probably not just as much, but definitely they hate them back, right? I mean, you can't just be a Jew and not think badly of white supremacists, right? But I haven't done like a poll, haven't done a survey, but there's definitely a pattern there, I think, at least according to white supremacists. White supremacists love talking about how the Jews have a conspiracy against them. And they make it sound like it's like a war that's like that the Jews are like winning somehow. And hey, maybe they're right. I mean, there's not like I don't really keep count on that tally of that war. But there is like some weirdness to the fact that you could just call something anti-Semitic and then it like destroys that entity. It's like that's now considered a hate group forever and ever. It's run by a bunch of kooks who are definitely bad people, racism, and yes, they're Nazis, yes. And sure, yes, we should make it so they should never have job. It's public knowledge. Their address, yeah, they deserve it. I mean, not that they deserve it, but hey, if they happen to be vandalized or have their house burned down, what can I say? They kind of had it coming. I hate that mentality of just like, well, yeah, it is weird to be a white supremacist. I wouldn't want to be that. Not even just. I mean, I just don't think it's. I don't agree with that. Like, also, I don't know what it is. Maybe if I knew what it was, I would join. I think I do know what it is. I think white supremacy groups, most of them, like not like the one, like the famous ones, like KKK. That's just the most famous. Like there's tons of them. And I don't know much about KKK, and it's a vague. Who the hell knows? I saw a YouTube documentary, and the guy who runs it, or one of the top guys, not wizard Nazis, seems like a pretty nice dude. Like he just seemed like he just had these views that are super unpopular, and but he didn't seem that harmful. Like I think he just wanted to be left, like be among his own people. Like I don't know if he wanted to go out and kill people. Like see, that's different. If you're like advocating genocide, that's kind of bad, and like you kind of that's like not really a constitutional right, you know. If you're inciting it, obviously for sure. If you just, I mean, you know. So the point I'm making is these so-called white supremacist groups, they're not saying, oh, white people are supreme to other races and we should own them as slaves again. Let's go back to that. Nah, they're just saying they like that they're white. They're not ashamed of it. And they don't necessarily hate. They don't hate others, groups, or whatever, ethnicities, racial groups. They just don't prefer to be around them, you know, etc. Live in the same neighborhoods as them is essentially where it comes down to. Like they just don't want to be around them. And so they just are okay with that fact. And you could even soften it to say, well, maybe even that's a little too far. I don't even know. That doesn't seem even that far. But some of like the most basic thing that could be considered white supremacy is just being proud to be white, basically. Like just saying it's okay to be white. Like, that's one thing. It's okay to be white. That's just a slogan, and that is considered a dog whistle, if not a blatant racist thing to say, which is absurd. If that's a dog whistle, maybe you should get smaller ears or something. Like maybe your ears are too big or something, like an elephant ear. I guess that's why the Democratic. I mean, I don't know which animal goes. Yeah, I guess the Democrat is the elephant, right? So that makes sense. they're listening too big and not to the right thing either. They got to focus on big old floppy ears to the actual problems in the world. Anyway, let's not go on a tear. Let's go back to what I was saying about white supremacy. Yeah, most of it, they're just like, oh no, we see other racial groups with, like, they're proud of their ethnicity. Why can't we be proud of our heritage? We're white, we're European. That's it. So we just formed a group for people to just do that. Just, like, kind of like how other groups like in colleges, there's like groups for, like, just other races for, like, community building, and I don't even really know what they're called. So if you try to do that with white people, it's considered like white supremacy, I guess, or something like that. And that's kind of interesting to me that is a bad thing when you look at it. It's like, well, every other seems like there's Latin groups, there's Black pride groups, like not pride, but like I don't know, like not support groups, just like. I never went to college, so I don't really know what the hell these things are. These programs, like not fraternities. But the point is, the opposite. Oh yeah, I already covered everything. So white supremacy is misunderstood by most people. It's really hard. Like, there are hateful people for sure, like people that just just use the N-word liberally and just like to spew their very racist opinions. But then, I don't know. Is that just for effect? I mean, when it comes down to, I go with the Gavin McInnes thing. He just says nobody is that racist. Even the people that I'm talking about, they just, like, if you have the same opinions as somebody, whatever, like, you're gonna get along with people no matter what their skin color is, I guess is the point he was making. If they crack the right jokes, if they relate to you, you're not just gonna not talk to them. Whatever. I mean, I'm simplifying. I'm making the world I'm trying to look on the bright side of things, because at the end of the day, we do have to make a decision if there really will be a race war. It's like, should white people be punished for their privilege? Anyway, I talked about all my politics for an hour, so let's talk about something non-political. What are they gonna do to fix these power outages? What are the politicians gonna do? I know Ted Cruz is bigly in the news for taking a big leap to Mexico, leaving Texas, and I think I talked about that in the last one. It's like, yeah, that's freedom. That's one of the reasons there's U-turns. Are you not familiar with the system we have? It's like, you could pull a U-turn, you could fly to Mexico. We don't hate Mexico. It's nice. It's just it's a different country. It's nice that we can go there and they can't come here. It's how it works. White supremacy. Anyway, etc., etc. Enough said. We talked about Ted Cruz. And I don't know, dude. It did make me think, well, if this happens every 10 years, but then again, climate change, that means it's probably going to start happening more and more. Like the Texas weather as we know it, that's just a spinning plate, right? Like, that's not a plate. That's really just the Earth, like, spinning a certain way. Like, it would just take a couple major disasters for that to... I really don't know what I'm talking about, but I just know that astronomy or planetary systems are just like balls floating and like following a path, like a dreidel, like like a spinning top, not to de-Jewish it. Let's go with dreidel. And like we take that for granted, that weather feels permanent and it feels dependable. Oh no, I'm in Texas. I don't gotta build deep insulate. Like, I don't need to prepare and have all that winterization. But I do believe it might get worse with the climate change stuff. I guess I do still believe in that. But I'm not that smart. I'm not Jordan Peterson. He's looked into it. He says, yeah, it probably is real, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? I mean, you're not going to stop using our phones. And so my thing is, if I'm moving here, I'm probably gonna get like a big old propane tank. Just have a propane tank in my backyard. I'm not gonna have my whole backyard will be filled with some kind of backup system for winterization, for like anything that could go wrong. And don't tell the association this, but I'm probably gonna build like a bunker, like an underground bunker, that you could literally just open a hatch and like climb down. Hopefully, I don't lose my ability to walk, because that'd be a terrible thing if I invest like a shitload of money and all of a sudden it's like not wheelchair accessible. And I do take my ability to walk not for granted. Not every day, but I'm so glad I could still walk, which I mean that's why I try to drive safely, dude. I don't drive over 85 unless other people are, because that's even more dangerous. Like if other people are driving faster than you, gotta go faster than them, dude. That's just Texas. That's how it works. A Texas Ranger, dude. I'm a Lone Star. And I am drinking alone, so I guess Lone Star kind of goes with that if you're spicy. If you're in the coinkadanks. So anyway, I started the conversation of this podcast by saying that I did a comedy show. I did an open mic, that's right. So I drove to an open mic. I pulled out of my car. I was like, where do I park? I found a parking space. That's all I care about, dude. I don't care about how the show went or the mic. I just care that I was able to find a parking space. That's the only thing that I consider being something to be proud of tonight. Because the open mic, I just did old jokes. Who cares? I just did old jokes. Tried out maybe like one thing that I thought, like, I didn't even really, the jokes that I thought I wrote, like I thought I came up with something, but like nothing. Nothing, dude. And I came up with stuff in between shows. So I did a showcase, as they call them. Not that I was showcased. They didn't know me. How could they showcase me if they don't know? They just met me that night. That's not really... So I wasn't really showcased. They were just like, hey, here's this next guy. That was the show. And so I did most of my writing, as they say, in between mics. So every once in a while I do write something late at night, like I get like as I'm in a creative like writing mode, but it's been a while since I've done that, and I am starting to get those juices bubbling up again, where I was like, oh, that's right, I have like a voice, I have like this weird delivery style that I can lean into sometimes, and it's really just copying Dice and Sebastian, and even like Lisa Lampanelli I hear sometimes. Who else do I copy? I copy a lot of people. Like even right there, I kind of sounded like Lisa Lampanelli. But she probably copied somebody else. Anyway, who cares? I mean, who cares? I have this delivery style that if I want, I could lead into like a dancer, like something, like a musician, like a magician, like pulling out tricks of like, hey, how about this dumb voice? And it's really just something that I like to do, and that's fun. It also helps if you have a good bit to do it around, or else you just look like an idiot. So that didn't really happen. I mean, I did look like an idiot. That's not what I mean. So the open mic, I parked in such a good spot, and because whatever. So anyway, I did old jokes. I was nervous. I was like, oh crap, I have to do a set. It's gonna be awkward. Ugh. Cause it's in like a theater, like this intimate theater where they're gonna hear everything you do. It's not like a bar. They're gonna be paying. They're gonna be paying so hard attention, and they can't escape it. That's why we're bring earplug or earpods. So just in case. No, like. So that was awkward. You don't want that. So I tried to at least do something funny. Like I tried to do something. And so I did an old joke that I wrote, I don't know, 8 years, like 2 years ago or something. Yeah, 2 years ago. I already put it on album. It's already on Spotify, so I'm still doing it. Ugh. Why did I put out those albums? Why did I put? Yeah, I'll probably just delete those because I guess you could do that if you're not if you're not like notable and nobody cares that you released it in the first place. Yeah, you could just delete it and it'll. Nobody will have recorded that. Nobody will have downloaded. I'm not Bill Hicks. Yeah, I tried the. Why was I talking about the? Oh yeah, because I did an old joke, and I guess it got a laugh. Whatever. I was like, yeah, it's fun. So how do I? Then I have to write new stuff. That's the thing. It's like, it's good to know that you could get laughs still. You haven't long, but you gotta keep the fire. You gotta keep feeding the fire by getting new stuff. Because I didn't feel like I accomplished anything. I didn't really think it was that good of a set. I didn't walk home with like a pep in my step, like, all right. So I drove after that, and driving after a set is fun because it's like, hell yeah, I just did a set, dude, and I'm driving to another one, dude, across town, literally. So like 30-minute drive, and to the east, from the east to the west. So I'm driving to the west now to try to do another. I wasn't trying to get up at the other. So I went to this showcase at another buddy from Chicago who happens to be here. Was on the show, and I was like, well, I'm definitely going. It's not even that far from the B&B. So I charged up the Tesla earlier in the day, up to like 90%, so just plenty of battery to mess around with, to gallivant. And so, it's the first day that the weather was tolerable, after the shitstorm. So I went to the show. Wasn't expecting to get up, but the producers, they are super nice. So they somehow, Donovan was nice enough to tell me, or I don't know, he hooked me up, or something happened where they offered me a set, and I did a set, whatever. It wasn't that great, but the point is how I had to pull like a very not professional move. I don't know if it was considered a professional thing, but something that I would only have done after 7 or 8 years of doing comedy. And that's something that I forgot that I could do, and also kind of scares me that I could do that, because it does create this weird high stake atmosphere where you're either gonna bomb or you're gonna actually be the most memorable thing of the night or something. And so I don't know if it was, probably not, but for me it was exhilarating because the mic was not working. It was working, but it was squeaking. That's the worst when you're telling a joke and the mic has like just enough feedback where you it's not, you're gonna try to keep going, but like after you say heep, after you say like a punch, like, heep, and it was driving me crazy, I just, not really, I didn't care that much. I was like, well, I am here, I came all the way here, let's try to fix this. And by fix this, I didn't mean the mic, I just meant the set. Make the set. What can I do to fix this set? And I guess the answer is trying to fix the microphone. So I put the mic down, I turned it off, it was feedbacky, so I turned it off. I went straight to the PA. My instincts just took, I just went straight to the PA. I was like, okay, where's the high? I looked for the high. I turned on the high. I could see it was turned up. The treble, the high, whatever you call it, equalizer. Saw it was turned up. It's like, so I fucking turned that knob just back to normal, dude. Well, actually, I overcompensated because you want to make sure it actually fixes the problem. And it did. So I started talking. I was like, because it created this long gap of tension. I was like, what is this guy doing? He's pissed. So I picked up the mic. I was like, it's working. I could tell it was working in the first like syllable. So I was like, And I was like, I'm an audio engineer. So that was the breaking point where I broke the tension, and it felt like I was back in the moment and I could start telling jokes again. And that worked. And sometimes you just have to learn how sound systems work if you're in if you're in an industry where you kind of have to use them every time you do the job that you're doing. It doesn't hurt to have a little bit of knowledge about how those things work, I guess. And so I turned that down. I started sounding normal. I tried to do more joke. It helped. So I was able to do a better job after that, more confident. And I was just having these moments where I was like actually like taking long breaks to assess my situation. I don't know. It's weird. It's like driving. It's like, okay, what are we going over here? Is it? Oh, that's coming up. Okay, turn. Let me switch lane. You know, I don't know what the. Not really. It's way harder than driving, but also that's why I didn't do that. I didn't do that well. I didn't look back at that as like, oh, that was so cool. That was so good. Nah, it wasn't that good. It was just better than it could have been if I had not had that much experience, if I had sucked even more. So I guess the bottom line is that you do get better at it over time if you are at least competent enough to know how to not suck as you suck. You know, like you don't want to suck twice the same way, the same dick. You don't want to suck the same dick twice. That's a great way to put it as a comic piece of whatever. Not advice, but like, you don't want to suck the same dick twice. If you suck a dick once, learn how to not suck that dick again. It's awkward to suck the same dick twice. As long as you're not doing that, you're gonna get better. And also, you gotta write. You gotta keep writing. You can never just lean back on your old shit. But then again, you gotta improve your old shit too, I guess. I mean, I'm not good at that. That's why I put out open mic albums. I was like, well, I'm not gonna work on the same one. I'm bored of it already. I don't work on it. It's too short. Just dumb little short kid. Like I just felt like a kid when I thought of them. So what I'm gonna do? Beef up something that I'm not even that interested in the first place? Nah, dude. So like that's why I'm doing a podcast, because I don't really care about stand up being that good at it. I'm not trying to get like a Netflix special, because then maybe if I actually did improve enough to write like a 60 minutes of kill, then that'd be awesome. And I probably would get a lot more opportunities, but I don't even think I have 10 minutes of killing. I'd be surprised. Yeah, I definitely don't. So that sucks, because I have very short bits. I have like 4 minutes. That's embarrassing. Yeah, that's embarrassing. But it'll all accumulate if you just keep writing it, right? And then you gotta order it in the set. You gotta build like a set. And that means, yeah, repeating it a lot. Dude, I'm gonna put this joke here, then this joke there, and it leads to this. I'm gonna close on this. What are you closing on? That's the big thing. What are you opening? I mean, I guess opening is not as important as you get more competent and as you get more loving crowds that really like you. If you have a good crowd that really likes you, it doesn't really matter what you open on, because eventually you'll get them by the accumulation of stuff they like. But if it's a cold crowd, a new crowd in a rowdy bar or whatever, and they don't know you, and they're skeptical, they're looking at you, oh, what does this guy got? Then it's good to have a good opener, a good opening line. The first thing you say, or just be very jovial, just connect with the crowd. That's something I've been trying to do, that's what I do. I connect with the crowd. I go, how you doing? Even though that's so it's so hack to say how are you doing but that's one way. There's a reason that so many comics do that, or at least there's a reason I do it, and that's because it actually is an honest question. I'm actually honestly kind of asking how they're doing. At least that's a good way to show that you're in the moment, is to be like, so what's up? How you doing? Because it, like, in a way that's like actually in the present, though. You can't just say it as as words. You have to actually make eye contact. You have to actually be like, hey, I'm here. I'm alive. You're alive. You're with me. We're going to experience something. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not rushing. I'm not going to lose your attention. I'm going to do my fucking job. That's what a good comedian does. And they take you in a trance. They make it so you don't get bored. And I mean, some people will not like you even if you're killing, even if you're crushing. I'm sure there's one person or two. They'll be like, yeah, I'm not. It's not doing it for me, but I see that other people like it. But I'm here. But the point is the professionals are able to put people in a trance. And time goes by fast, and before you know it, they're just drinking, having a blast, and the bill comes, you go, oh man, I don't even like this girl that I brought, but that guy was pretty, I'm going to hopefully shake his hand. You know what, after the show, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to give him one of these, dude, because it takes you out of your shitty life, if you're a good comic. I haven't seen that in a long time, but also I don't go to professional comedy shows. I only go to the bottom of the amateur level, like the amateur level of bottom quality. Yeah, the low-level amateurs. Let's just say that. And wow, that's really not saying that's. So that's why I don't laugh. And it makes me like, really, you're doing this? What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? Being a comedian? What do you think you're funny? That's how you feel a lot. But some of them are. Some of them are just new, and you have to distinguish between. You never know if they're new. That's not even what I mean, because some of them are actually not that new. So I'm not talking about the newbies. The newbies are nice. They're cool. They're chipper. They're young. They're hip. Eventually, they could become successful and funny. I'm talking about the ones that just never learn how to crack a joke. Like they think they have jokes. Like they definitely talk about themselves as if they have jokes, and that's a pattern that I find amusing because I don't like talking about jokes like that. I have a bit about that. Yeah, I don't like doing that. So the ones that usually talk about their own bits are usually the ones that are the ones that are not that good. Or else they wouldn't have to talk about them. They would just do them on stage, and they would like realize that, oh yeah, I don't have to talk about it. I'm not teaching a class. Even then you don't have to talk about your own bits. You can talk about other people's bits, dude. It's more jovial, or it's more friendly or likable. What's the word I'm looking for? It makes you look better if you talk about other people's bits than if you talk. If you go, oh man, that bit that you did, I love that bit. I don't know, I had to sound like I was orgasming. It's just a bit. Some bits are good, but I don't know if I make that noise after complimenting somebody. But I do compliment people on their bits, and I don't just do it to be nice. I do it because it's true. Some other people are good at comedy, and as much as it pains me to say that, I'm not a prick, and I'm not that small-minded or weak-minded that I think that I have to be the only one. And I don't think I'm that good yet either. Right? Like I said, I didn't do that much yet. I have not done a good set in probably over a year. I've had tiny little crickets of moments where I was like, that was a good moment, but no, not like an entirely good set. Like once you set a bar, you always gotta raise the bar, or at least hit that bar again, or else it's not like you gotta keep outdoing yourself, dude. Or else it's like, yeah, I did that before. I get it. You saw it for the first time, but I've been doing that shit. Dude. You're just one of these. You're just one of the millions of people that like me, that I don't like back. Basically, that's what fans are. No, fans are people that love you, that you are just like, can you get out of my face, please? No, I'm just, I don't know. I don't really have that experience yet. I've never had the experience yet where I didn't want to talk to somebody after a set. I mean, if I do a set and somebody comes up to me, they could be Hitler, and I would be like, wow, Hitler liked it? Shit. So I don't really get too mad when someone compliments me. That'd be kind of weird. But it'll happen eventually. Eventually, I'll be so like complacent, I guess is the word, where I'm just like blowing people off just for even if they're like complimentary. But that's a weird place to imagine. Actually, it's not that weird at all. I could see myself being there, like, like I said, I've probably already done it to me. I've probably already done that. Yeah, it's weird. It's like, I don't think I've ever. So anyway, one time, no, that's it. That's the whole story. So I did a set and I did another set and I drove home. I love driving the Tesla. Like I'm still not over just the sheer fact that I own one and that it's mine. It just feels something about it feels illegal that I'm allowed to drive that thing all over the country. It's like, really? So yeah. For now, I mean, I'm sure I'll get a ticket or get my license suspended or not pay the bills or something or get arrested for who the hell knows. Everyone has paranoia. Like I had this paranoid moment yesterday in this nice Airbnb. Looking out the back windows, I had to perch. I had to like lean on my tippy toes. I was just looking at the car. I was just seeing that my car was like still parked there, and just checking the paint job to see if there's any to see how dirty it was, see if the snow was melting on it, or whatever. And I saw this Suburban just parked, just outward, kind of blocking me. Yeah, like a Suburban. That's a scary car. Those are the cars that are used by covert government agencies. So I am starting to get paranoid thoughts like that, but only because it was blocking the driveway. And also it left like 20 minutes and it was never seen again. So it's not like they lived there. It's just someone I didn't see them after that. So maybe it was a government agent. But I don't need a government agent to record, to spy. I mean, I'm posting it on social media. Like, it's pretty public what I'm doing. So I don't know. I mean, if they have a question, I'll tell them. I'm not that secretive. I'm not really hiding anything, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool that I don't really have anything to hide. I just choose to be private for my own sake of freedom. It's just none of your business, and it's nice to not have people knowing things. It just doesn't matter. I don't know. It's a personal freedom to have privacy, and I don't take it. I love it. I think that's the theme of this episode, is not taking things for granted. And it's going to be tough to not take for granted this Airbnb. Or just all of them that I've stayed at. I'm staying at one tomorrow. I don't know. I'm moving tomorrow to a different one. And, I'll do another podcast there, I guess, if I have something to talk about. Screw it if I don't know. Screw it if I know. Screw it if I don't.